This is a PowerWorks podcast short with Glenn Power and me, James Pikeway.
So the BMW reminds me, I want to talk about is brown car guy, Shazad.
Jake, if you're not watching any of that, then that guy's prolific with content on YouTube. Relentless.
Yeah. His stuff's good. And I watched his, which is kind of relevant only to London at the moment in the UK, but there's an ultra low emission zone in the UK, in London. In central London, you have to pay a congestion charge for almost all cars unless they're zero emissions to drive into London. Then there's also a fee to pay if you hire classed as an older or high emissions vehicle.
Okay.
And it's about £12 a day.
That's a lot.
£12.50 a day.
Yikes.
So, you know, we're talking about a lot of money every day.
Yeah.
But now, apparently, in the extension and the expansion of those plans, classic cars aren't even allowed in the zone. So not only can you not drive them, you can't even have them on your driveway.
Wow.
If they expand that zone out.
Wow.
So he was walking around the suburb of London that he was in at the particular time, and there was a couple of old Nissans. I mean, I wouldn't urinate on them if they were on fire. They're not my kind of thing. But he was making a valid point. There are a lot of people that like them, and they did look in good condition.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be allowed to be kept there.
Yeah.
So either it cost the guy £12.50 a day per car, so £25 a day, to just to park them on the road, not necessarily even use them, or he'd have to sell them or scrap them. I mean, I'd scrap them. Yeah. Or
because you're not a Nissan guy.
Or pay for storage somewhere outside the zone. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And it comes across initially, I was quite taken by it. Obviously, I've been out of the UK for a long time, and I don't pay much attention to things that don't affect me. I'm just selfish like that. But it made me think initially, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? You know, what are they actually doing? And then I thought, you know what? People that love those kind of cars are really going to have to love them to keep them. Yeah. And then that means that people like us and people like us that will only ever work on internal combustion are going to become more valuable.
Sure.
They're going to become more appreciated. And it'd be fine. The issue I actually have with it, I think long term it's going to work out for people that only ever want to work on internal combustion. That's going to be a dying art quite soon. But what you've got is a situation where the government in the UK, in this case, in London in particular, are saying, no, you can't have that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are you doing to support the manufacture of a vehicle that I can have then?
Yeah.
Because when you've got vehicle shortages all around the world, which we've talked about ad nauseum on this show, well, come on then, UK.
Yeah.
Man up a little bit, pick yourself up off the floor and say, right, well, we'll start manufacturing this then.
Yeah.
Well, that's ridiculous. That and the fact that they're not doing it, there's no alternative. While we were back in the UK, we did a scrap car scheme where if you scrapped a car, so if you took an old car that was over 10 years old to a car dealership and bought a new car, they would have to give you £1,000 for it, and the government would match that. So you get £2,000 off. So
do you think that could ever come here? Do you think they would ever start doing something like that in, core of Abu Dhabi, Dubai proper? Say, okay, is anywhere that's inside the water ring, you can't have internal combustion engine. You can't have vehicles at over a certain age.
I would like to think
all the gardeners would be done for.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you can't take a lawnmower in a Tesla, can you?
Yeah. Well,
put
it's
it in
all
the back of a Nissan Sunny, no problem.
It's all those Sunnies and Corollas, those ones that they're
that you can batter around though. It costs you 200 dirhams
2005 or something.
Yeah,
you know which ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, but I mean,
they'd be gone.
There is no. Well, this is the solution, and this is what we're doing. Oh, by the way, we've been doing this for a year, and now you've not been listening. So here's the problem: in 6 months' time, you're going to start paying me £25 a day to keep 2 classic cars on your drive. Yeah. Well, that's ridiculous. You need to give. There needs to be a solution, and there's such, and it'll be the same in any country in the world. North America's got problems as a continent. Europe's got problems as a continent. Asia, Africa, any continent with people in it have problems by the nature of the fact that there's people there. But I'm not for 1 minute suggesting that we go and start producing vehicles in Antarctica. But what I am saying is there should be surely enough skills, manpower, workforce. Sorry, I shouldn't say manpower. Workforce. There should be enough of these people and desire to do something that there's an opportunity to create a car.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the solution we're going to give you. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to work at figuring out how to get off of the necessity to use these cars.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, you want to use internal combustion, you can only use them at the weekends between 5 o'clock on a Friday afternoon and 7 a.m. on a Monday morning.
I think here the big challenge will be all the folks who are driving around, and it's a little bit of tongue in cheek, but we all see them and hear them, is the Nissan Patrols that have been decked out.
But you can't use them on the road anyway. Realistically,
someone came up beside me in one of those, and I thought I'd thrown a rod or something.
Yeah.
And then he passed. Okay, it's him now.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose thinking about it and saying it out loud, the only problem with doing that, it's a little bit like charging for carrier bags. It's like basically saying, if you've got the money, you can kill a turtle.
Yeah.
You want to kill a turtle? Give me 5 pence. You know that, and that's that's the problem.
But that's the only way we can get people to do stuff, is we've got to hit them in the wallet.
Yeah.
Until it gets so uncomfortable. And we're starting to see it now. Fuel prices are going up. It's hitting people in the wallet. They're never going to come down. Like, let's be honest.
No.
They're never returning. And people are now starting to go, ooh, I don't know if I can drive. I don't know if I can do that trip. I got to find another way. We're going to, we want tourism. I mean, try getting onto an aircraft right now. I mean, we all know we've got to fly out. If you didn't get your tickets before stuff happened 3 months ago with the Ukraine, it's ongoing war there. Airline prices, fuels, they're all up 20%. Well, they're just passing that 20% on to you and me. Yeah. And suddenly tickets are becoming unaffordable.
Look, you've got a lot of,
so hit people in the wallet causes very rapid.
It's okay, and
change.
I agree to an extent, but the problem with that is
people own rolling stock.
I cannot, and I would probably say nobody that I work with is financially in a position to go and buy an electric vehicle.
It's not even in my near future to own an electric vehicle.
Take Tesla, for example, here. So you can go to Tesla now and try and order a car, and it'll be 6 to 12 months. And I know this from 2 people that have done it recently. The first of those people that did it came back to me saying that the sales executive told him, all of our orders have already been pre-purchased.
Really?
And here's a number of a guy who's got one. And they're buying them at, let's say, in this case, 175,000 dirhams, which is not a bad price. Okay. Not too bad for a Model 3. That guy, without driving it, without taking off any of its delivery wrap, is selling them for 250.
There you go. Speculated
on it.
He's got
the money. You can do it.
He speculated on it.
But that means now nobody can do it. And, I shared you and I've seen it in the notes, VW are resurrecting the Scout name, which means nothing to anyone outside of North America, I don't think, but it's a big deal.
Sure. If you want to get a look at a Scout, go watch it's the series, and I've mentioned this to you, Animal Kingdom. It is not David Attenborough. It's not that Animal Kingdom. This is a family that's gone really bad in Southern California. One of the vehicles the boys drive, and I say the boys are our age, one of the vehicles is an International Scout. And you look at that thing, it's like a cross between a Jeep and a Bronco. Oh.
Yeah, well, I looked them up and I saw them.
If VW is going to start making those, I'm in.
Well, I looked them up, and the thing that struck me was the fact that they were like, yeah, we want to do what Rivian are doing it for $70,000 for $40,000. And I'm thinking, that's cool.
Yeah.
No problem. That's great. That's fantastic. But then you think to yourself, we're still talking about $40,000.
Yeah.
Just because it's 30 grand less than the Rivian, $40,000.
Yeah. Who's got that kind of cash lying around?
So you're still out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's probably no different. It's obviously a lot more important to a lot more people and to the future of the planet, but it's not much different to the 80s when it went from cassette to CD, vinyl to CD. It's probably not, CDs probably were quite expensive at the time.
Sure.
And, not everybody had one. And then I remember mini discs when I was at school. There was no way my parents would buy me a mini disc player because they were crazy. I mean, it only lasted 5 minutes. Who cares?
Yeah.
But there was no way I could have had one. We wouldn't have been able to buy one of those. Technology is always expensive when it comes out. Look at the new mobile phone.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing that this did when I turned it on 2 years ago was tell me that the new one, the S21, was on its way out. Pre-order yours now. Excellent. Literally just opening the phone. But it, and they aren't cheap, and technology is expensive, and there's good reason for it a lot of the time. Sometimes it's not justified, and I think in the case of a phone, it isn't justified.
But these cars,
40,
it's a lot of money.
There is no solution to it that can help quickly enough.
We're talking CO2 gas emissions. I think one of the, we always talk cars, and it's easy to look at a car and the internal combustion engine, and it's just stuff coming out of the back of that thing, and you want